In the opening scene of Mädchen in uniform, we meet Manuela, who is getting dropped off at a boarding school by her aunt. Manuela's mother has passed away, and with her father in the army, the family is looking to give her a better education. Getting upset at the mention of her mother, Manuela begins to cry, and her aunt, after insulting her, tells her to
Luela, nimm dich doch zusammen. Soldatentochter und weinen.
The indignation, the audacity. And I think this is the perfect way to set the stage for a film about compassion and camaraderie, overcoming a fascistic regime, among other things, and of course, a queer romance. But I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Mädchen in Uniform is the 1931 film directed by Leontine Sagan, with a screenplay by Christa Winsloe and Friedrich Demann, based on the play by Winsloe titled Gestern und Heute, or Yesterday and Today. Christa Winsloe was an open lesbian artist working in Berlin in the early 1930s, so needless to say the film was banned by the Nazis, and because Nazis do what Nazis do, they tried to have the film destroyed. Luckily, enough prints had made it abroad that the film still survives. The girls in the boarding school bring Manuela into the fold immediately, which was a nice surprise. I feel like there aren't many movies with boarding schools in them where the kids are all kind to one another. There's generally a lot of death and violence in the cinematic boarding school universe, the CBSU, as I like to call it. They show her the ropes, teach her the rules, but most importantly, they tell her about one of their teachers, Fräulein von Bernberg. Fräulein von Bernberg. All the girls are in love with Fräulein von Bernberg. I thought I'm bad at like Spanish, but German might be. But when Manuela and Bernberg first meet, Bernberg tries to be as authoritative as the headmistress, oh, here it comes, Fräulein von Nordic Zerniden, wants her to be. But later, before bed, Bernberg discovers the passing of Manuela's mother and reveals herself to be the kind, compassionate woman that she is. That's when Manuela falls hard. And so does von Bernberg, because during their little lights out ceremony, while all the other girls are getting pecks on the forehead, Manuela gets a big ol' smoochy kiss right on the lips. From what I've read, the queer aspects of the film were toned down from the play, so much so that Winslow wrote a novel, The Child Manuela, in 1933, which was a virgin adaptation of the screenplay where the lesbian storyline was more emphasized. And so some people say there's some ambiguity about whether Bernberg actually reciprocates the feelings that Manuela has for her, but it's a hard pill to swallow when you're looking at this kiss. I mean, look at that. That is shot like a Hollywood romance. That's Bogart and Bacall, baby. Even if Manuela is getting some special attention from Bernberg, she's kind and compassionate to all the students. She believes fostering a relationship with them will produce better results than being overly strict and cruel, which is not what the headmistress believes. And we get a great little scene where the two have a little head-to-head, a little tête-à-tête in their opposing philosophies.
Es ist mir längst aufgefallen, dass Sie merkwürdig wenig Tadelstriche erteilen.
Ich habe es nicht nötig, die Kinder zu bestrafen. Sie gehorchen mir auch so und lernen gut.
So.
I don't know if I'd call it criticism, but another point of contention with the film is that it goes a little easy on fascism, and the allegory doesn't totally work because in the end, spoiler, the headmistress isn't necessarily defeated, but I disagree. I don't think it's the main focus of the film, so sure, there could have been more, but it's layered in enough to be resonant, and especially in scenes like this, and another scene between Bernberg and the headmistress later on, where the opposing viewpoints are more explicitly stated.
Ich hänge nicht an meiner Stellung. Ich weiß, dass ich hier nicht bleiben kann. Kann es nicht mehr ertragen, mit anzusehen, wie sie aus diesen Kindern verängstigte, hilflose Geschöpfe machen.
I think it does enough. You are enough. Mädchen in uniform. As time goes on, Manuela falls harder and harder for Bernberg. She can't think straight, she gets flustered in her class, and while replacing some of Manuela's undergarments with some of her own, Manuela confesses her love for the teacher. She's replacing her undergarments because the ones that Manuela was sent with had holes in them. That's why she was replacing them. Nothing untoward. Bernberg says she often thinks of Manuela as well. This makes Manuela giddy, and after a school performance and imbibing on some refreshments, Manuela loudly and proudly declares her love for Bernberg and her underwear.
Jawohl, sie ist da. Sie hat mich lieb. Ich fürchte mich vor nichts. Hier, alle sollen wissen. Unsere geliebte, einzige Fräulein von Bernburg soll leben.
Needless to say, the hammer, the fist, comes down hard on Manuela, and she's sequestered away, isolated from the rest of the girls, but they aren't standing for it. They throw on their Free Manuela shirts and stand up for their friend, and even as the administration tries to guilt them into turning on her. Even Bernberg tries to stand up for the girl, kind of, but ultimately toes the party line and tells Manuela that she can never see her again.
Fräulein von Bernburg, werde ich Sie besuchen dürfen? Das nicht, Manuela.
This leads Manuela to try and take her own life, but she is ultimately saved by her friends, and we see how a group motivated by love and caring for one another can stand up to fascist dictators as the headmistress walks alone and ashamed. I guess back to her office. I don't really know where she's going. Maybe she walks out the door and keeps on walking. Forever. So this is absolutely a queer love story and a love that is trying to flourish within an oppressive society. I think it's pretty unequivocal. I don't think there's much of a debate about whether or not Bernberg is just being motherly towards Manuela. I think you can make that argument, but I don't think it's an especially good one. But this love story is a good one. I think what might complicate it for modern audiences, like myself, is the fact that it's a teacher and a 14-year-old student. Like I said, I think it's pretty explicit that Bernberg is repressing her feelings towards Manuela. Like I already mentioned, that smooch, and maybe even more so in this scene where it seems like Bernberg is daydreaming about Manuela giving her bedroom eyes while she gets all hot and bothered. I mean, it's 1931, so nothing explicit is going to happen between these two, and I think that helps the film when viewing it through a contemporary lens because you can invest in this love story and what it's trying to say without the reality of a relationship between a 14-year-old girl and her teacher, what that would actually mean. If you're willing, you can say to yourself, it was a different time, and accept the film for what it is. I'd be interested in reading the play or the subsequent book that Winsloe wrote and see how the relationship plays out in them. I'm actually really interested in doing that, but I don't know if they still exist in English. I haven't found them, or at least I haven't found them that for not hundreds of dollars, but maybe I just didn't look hard enough. Let me know in the comments if you know where I can read that. I left some links in the doobly-doo if you want to watch some other videos I liked about this movie, but overall, this is a must-watch film, groundbreaking in its themes, in its all-woman cast, in its female director. I don't know that that's actually groundbreaking because women had been directing films for like 50 years up until this point, but if you want to see me break ground on some other films from the 1930s, click these here, and now go watch something old other than me. I'm breaking ground on the internet, people. Cishet dude talking about movies on YouTube. This is a first. I'm a revolutionary. Viva la revolution!